that does so much to support and enhance the lives of millions of Europeans. We are so happy to be able to showcase all of this and to shine a light on work that often is not fully recognised or acknowledged. The nature of my work as Ombudsman inevitably implies criticism when mistakes are made or standards drop. But in that monitoring of the administration, I also see the wealth and the value of the work that you do day in and day out. And this is our way of acknowledging that and of allowing best practice to be shared. But while this is, of course, a happy and a celebratory event, it is taking place against a backdrop of immense trauma and tragedy after 15 months of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Europe alone, approximately 1.2 million people have lost their lives, with many more becoming seriously ill or suffering the long-term aftermath of the illness. And you are all aware of the economic and financial fallout of the crisis affecting so many individuals, so many individual businesses, and so many business sectors. It is undeniable that mistakes were made. And over the next few months and years, we shall no doubt gain greater insight into how decisions were made when it came to handling the crisis. But that insight will be valuable only if we learn from it and do not repeat the same mistakes should another similar crisis occur. The single greatest preventative measure is good leadership at political and at administrative level. And many of the initiatives showcased here today did indeed spring from exemplary leadership decisions. The pandemic has taught us and is teaching us a lot. For me, one of the biggest lessons is just how powerful and how effective we human beings can be where there is a massive need to be effective coupled with a massive will to be effective. The development and rollout of vaccines with unprecedented speed, unprecedented scientific collaboration and unprecedented resources is the most obvious case in point. But many other initiatives were executed in ways we could never before have imagined, some of which, from an EU perspective, you will see today. All of this should teach us to be sceptical the next time a good project or a good initiative is rejected on the grounds of resources or timescale. I believe, for example, that political will alone may be all that is currently necessary to make sure that the rest of the world receives the same level of vaccine protection as the West currently does. Friends and colleagues, thank you once again for entering for these awards and for being with us today. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce the Commission President, Madam Ursula von der Leyen, to share her thoughts on what you collectively have achieved.
Dear Mrs. O'Reilly, dear colleagues, I'm delighted to have this opportunity to shine a light on the good work of so many colleagues in the European Union administration. And I particularly want to thank you, Emily, for creating this recognition of efficiency and quality standards. For over 25 years now, the work of the European Ombudsman Office has been crucial. It has helped building and maintaining public trust in our union. In your 8 years in this role, you have embodied the principle of transparency. This is highly valued by our citizens. As we emerge from the health and economic crisis, you continue to fight for the effective and accountable union they deserve. When I became Commission President, I said that all EU institutions should be open and beyond reproach on ethics, transparency and integrity. In a true partnership, in exchange of views on a basis of fair inquiries and inspections, your assessments of complaints, your recommendations have helped the Commission to improve and lead the way. My Commission has shown that we are ready and willing to improve our ways of working. In the 2020 Putting It Right report, the Commission received 53 suggestions for improvement, and we responded in a satisfactory manner to almost all of them, because we see clear benefits to this too. Following your inquiry, we changed our practice for assessing academic qualifications of young trainees This helps us secure talent for the European administration. On Brexit negotiations, we published over 100 documents and detailed all meetings with registered lobbyists. This full transparent conduct helped to safeguard the solidarity of the EU 27 at a time when it was never more needed. And also on your recommendation, we now apply the same transparency standards for expert groups and advisory bodies. This award for good administration is a positive step to nurture such best practice. It gives recognition to the efficient and impactful work across EU institutions and bodies. I am proud that the Commission has won the last 2 overall awards. Our goal is to be a citizens-centered administration. While awards like these remind us of when we are getting it right, they also inspire us to do more and to do better. This past year has tested colleagues to deliver quality service under complete new conditions. But the EU administration has admirably risen to the challenge. We see this in several of the nominations. Not only did colleagues adapt to new circumstances or ensure business continuity, they excelled the creative solutions, the thousands of COVID-related decisions and legislative proposals, some of them prepared in record time. They organized EU datathons and made open data useful for citizens. They brought relief to vulnerable people all over the world via the humanitarian air bridge. This shows that our administration is already well on the way to where we want to head with the whole of Europe. We want to come out of this crisis together, more digital, more sustainable, and more resilient. I'm sure that those watching this event online agree and appreciate public acknowledgement of their collective achievement. The caliber of candidates nominated today is extremely high. I would like to extend my congratulations to each and every one of you. Whatever the result, you are all winners in my eyes. And I'm sure for the citizens that you serve so well. Thank you for your commitment to our shared goal of good EU administration.
Thank you, Commission President, for those inspiring words. Now let's get down to business and showcase your projects. The 37 nominated projects have been divided into 4 categories. These are excellence in citizen-focused services delivery, excellence in communications, excellence in innovation and transformation, and excellence in crisis management. Each project has a number which reflects the order we received them in, and the projects are always listed in numerical order. The first category is citizen-focused services delivery with 8 projects. From the projects. Number 1, EU Datathons, making open data useful for citizens, a project developed by the EU Publications Office, which manages the public portals to EU datasets. Datathon competitions were organized to create useful apps using the data. One app, for instance, helps to reduce water waste in farming. Number 9, Sure Thing, EU emergency money to keep people employed, developed by DG ECFIN, DG Employment and DG Budget. The Sure Emergency Fund provides member states with loans to counter the effects of COVID-19. The regulation was drawn up in just over 4 weeks and involved cooperation across several Commission departments and with member states. Project number 22. establishing best practices for helping pandemic-hit consumers and businesses from the DG for Financial Stability and Capital Markets Union, which brought together key finance and consumer organizations and drew up a list of best practices to help consumers hit by the pandemic. One of the ideas developed was the need to defer credit payments and allow easier access to loans. Project number 24, Business Continuity and Innovation, Occupational Safety and Health, from the EU Agency for Health and Safety at Work. The agency provided guidance and videos on how to stop the spread of COVID-19 in the workplace. It used innovative practices internally for dealing with the pandemic, including paperless workflows and video conferences to enable remote working. Project 25, giving civil society a say on the green transition, from the European Economic and Social Committee and DG Environment. They created an online forum for an exchange of ideas on the green transition. They brought together public authorities, consumers, businesses, academia, and organized an annual conference and held regular smaller events. Project number 26, e-translation, bringing a multilingual EU to citizens, from DG Translation and DG Connect, who integrated a neural machine translation service into EU websites, which were also made available for SMEs in Europe. And so the e-translation team brought the EU closer to citizens. Project number 32, access to markets, helping small businesses trade their way to recovery, submitted by DG Trade, which set up a free multilingual website explaining EU import and export rules to companies. The website was tailored to the interests of SMEs, and there was a special promotion campaign to raise awareness about the website. Project number 33, B Solutions, cross-border problem solving for border regions, developed by DG Regio. We know that cross-border workers often face legal and administrative obstacles, and DG Regio works with local authorities to facilitate interaction in border regions. 43 initiatives have been undertaken by January 2021 to make cross-border interactions easier. Now I will hand over to the Ombudsman to announce the shortlist. Emily.
Thank you very much, Shada. Well, the shortlisted projects for the Citizen-Focused Services Delivery category are Project number 1, EU Datathons, making open data useful for citizens by the Publications Office. Project number 9, Sure Thing, EU emergency money to keep people employed by DG ECFIN, DG Employment and DG Budget. And project number 25, giving civil society a say on green transition by the European Economic and Social Committee and DG Environment. So congratulations to those who've been shortlisted, and the winner in this category is Project 9. Sure Thing, EU emergency money to keep people employed by DG ECFIN, Employment and Budget.
So Gilles Moore is the spokesman for the project. Congratulations, Gilles. Congratulations. Let's watch a short video of this project.
Many congratulations to you and to your team. I know that this was an initiative that was incredibly important to so many people and to their families right across Europe. And I think what the thing that most people comment on it is how speedily it was done. Just give us a sense of some of the challenges that were there at the very start.
On behalf of the whole team, and you can see a sample here in this room, we are very pleased and honored to receive this prize, which reflects a true teamwork led by DG ECFIN, but also heavily involving DG Budget, DG Employment, the legal service, and the section. Let me tell you a very short story. 15 months ago, in March 2020, our lives were upset by the pandemic and the urgent containment measures to curb the upsurge of COVID cases and deaths. Our economy contracted massively, much more than during the great financial crisis 10 years ago. But our economy held on, did not melt down, and this was largely because firms retained their employees and the self-employed stay in business waiting for the recovery. And they did so because of the large use of short-time work schemes and similar measures by member states, promoted, supported, and facilitated by SURE. SURE has been indeed a true European success story. I think the EU acted as a second line of defense to help member states protect their citizens. The figures are dazzling. I think SURE has helped between 25 million and 30 million, of which 5 million self-employed, protecting them against unemployment at the peak of the crisis. And as a result, the increase in unemployment in Europe has been very limited during the trough of the crisis compared to the US, for instance. It SURE has also supported around 2 million firms in Europe, and I mean more precisely the 19 countries who benefited from SURE. Also a success story which showed the capacity of the EU to act very quickly, timely, and in a spirit of solidarity. Let's remember, in the second week of March 2020, we were all put in lockdown. 5 weeks later, the Commission put a legislative proposal on SURE on the table, which was endorsed by the Council 6 weeks later. All member states, all of them, even those who did not benefit from SURE, supported the instrument concretely by voluntarily providing guarantees, making the whole schemes possible. Moreover, the new instrument was implemented by all the services I mentioned in no time and operationalized in no time to measure up to the gravity of the emergency. I mean, let's also recall that the instrument turned out to be very popular among the EU member states and the financial market. The firepower of the instrument was used almost to the full, covering 19 member states. 2 waves of pandemics, 95 billion as an amount, close to the maximum amount of 100 billion. And the story is not over. There is 6 billion left. So we are very honored and pleased to receive this prize. We want to thank the Ombudsman for organizing this ceremony, and on the behalf of all the team, I thank you wholeheartedly again for this award. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gilles, and congratulations again. And now let's go to the next category. Projects.
Just forgot to tell you.
Project 2, Demystifying the Brussels Bubble, developed by Lucia Kleskitnova, a staff member in DG GROW. Lucia worked to spotlight the human side to communicating about the EU. She did this over 50 interviews for her popular Lights on Europe podcast, which documented the everyday experiences of EU officials. For example, she asked them about any prejudices they might have faced or whether they had unusual experiences. Project number 4. Keeping people informed of their privacy rights in a digital age, from the European Data Protection Supervisor. Tech Dispatch, a regular EDPS report, assesses the impact of new technologies on privacy. It is available on the EDPS website and is part of the overall aim to keep the public well informed. Project number 12, telling the EU story decade by decade from DG Regio. These are fun videos. We recount how the EU was built decade by decade. The actors in the videos are actually DG Regio staff members. The videos are available in all EU languages and are, of course, a big hit on social media. Project number 13, fighting African swine fever, forging a united front in Southeast Europe, submitted by the European Food Safety Authority, which created a 2020 campaign to raise awareness about African swine fever and its potentially devastating effects on farmers' livelihoods. The campaign targeted farmers and hunters in Southeastern Europe where the disease is at a risk of spreading. The decentralized campaign across 9 countries used localized content and local influencers. Project number 15, Ding Dong EU, ready for the Green Challenge? From DG Regio. 15 influencers were sent on green journeys in Belgium, Germany, Greece, Lithuania, and Portugal. They visited physically or virtually over 70 sustainable projects to raise awareness about EU support for local sustainability initiatives. The campaign reached almost 10 million young Europeans on social media. Project number 19, hashtag YourEURight, modern communications for a young audience, developed by DG Just to raise awareness about consumer rights among 18 to 35-year-olds. It focused on 10 countries which were chosen for their low awareness of consumer rights. The campaign, with events and influencers, reached 320 million people. Project number 20, Punto y Coma, the must-read quarterly journal developed by Spanish language translators on translation-related matters. The journal provides a forum for Spanish EU translators and other actors in the field of translation and includes articles written by linguists in EU institutions and by academics. It has around 2,000 subscribers. Project 21, bringing the LGBTIQ equality strategy to new audiences, developed by DG Just, which used national celebrities and influencers to help publicize the European Commission's LGBTIQ strategy. The DG Just team provided visuals and key hashtags, and this resulted in a much wider audience and positive reaction to the strategy. Project number 30, showing how the EU helps during disasters, from DG ECHO, which sprang into action after the devastating explosions in Beirut last year. 2 regional information officers coordinated communications. They explained the EU's actions on the ground, including humanitarian aid, and their hard work helped to show how the EU can help in such situations. Project number 34, video on evacuation procedures for EU buildings, developed by the European Parliament. It explains how to leave EU buildings in an emergency. It is humorous and easy to understand and applies to the European Parliament, the Council, and European Council buildings. Now I will hand over to the Ombudsman to announce the shortlist.
Thank you, Shada. And the shortlisted projects for the communications category are Project number 13, Fighting African Swine Fever, forging a united front in Southeast Europe, by the European Food Safety Authority. Project number 14, Fighting African Swine Fever, forging a united front in Southeast Europe, by the European Food Safety Authority. Project number 15, Fighting African Swine Fever, forging a united front in Southeast Europe, by the European Food Safety Authority. Project number 15, Ding Dong EU, Ready for the Green Challenge by DG Regio. And project number 19, Your EU Right, Modern Communications for a Young Audience by DG Just. Congratulations to all those shortlisted, and the winner in this category is project number 13, Fighting African Swine Fever, Forging a United Front in South-East Europe by the European Food Safety Authority.
Yes, Francesca Mattiucci is the spokesperson for the project. Welcome. Congratulations on your win. Let's watch a video of the winner.
Many, many congratulations on your win. Very well deserved. I imagine that in these regions there are very, very deeply embedded cultural traditions in relation to agriculture and to hunting. So was that part of the reason why you decided to use local influencers and local media to get your messages out? Okay.
You please unmute? Could you please?
We're not
unmute?
hearing you?
We can't hear you. Just unmute yourself so we can hear you. We're really anxious to listen to what you have to say. We're not getting the sound. Congratulations. We'll try and come back to you, but apologies, you haven't been able to say anything now, but you will receive an award. Now, let's now move to the next category. The Excellence in Innovation and Transformation category has 8 projects. Project number 5. Helping people track what happens to their private data from the European Data Protection Supervisor, which developed the website Evidence Collector, an open source software tool which checks what websites do with people's data. It allows website users to understand what information is being transferred or stored during their visit, and the tool can be downloaded from the EDPS website. Project number 7. Turning the EP carbon neutral by 2030, developed by the European Parliament. A policy department and the eco-management unit in the EP drew up a report on how to make the EP carbon neutral by 2030. It analyzes the current situations and sets short to long-term goals. The proposed measures include virtual tours for visitor groups and investing in energy-positive buildings. Project number 11, From Boardroom to Broadband, the new world of online meetings developed by the European Food Safety Authority. EFSA's digital-first approach allowed it to keep engaged with stakeholders throughout the pandemic. The approach reduced costs and the carbon footprint and increased outreach to stakeholders. In 2019, 48% of the meetings were digital, and in 2020, the number had risen to 91%. Project number 14, Challenges for Food Safety Driven by Climate Change, submitted by the European Food Safety Authority, which gathered information from a range of sources on what climate change could mean for food safety. The data was put together in a report aimed at both the general public and at experts. EFSA worked with several international organizations, including the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Project number 16, using artificial intelligence to serve a multilingual EU, developed by the European Union Intellectual Property Office and the Translation Center. Together, they worked on how to use artificial intelligence for multilingualism in the EU institutions. The new services, speech-to-text technology that they developed are now being used. And this has, of course, helped expand possibilities for multilingual communication with the public. Project number 31, coordinating the response of EU agencies to the COVID-19 crisis, developed by the EU Agencies Network. This voluntary network of agencies set up an advisory group to share best practices and coordinate on how to respond to COVID-19. The initiative involved all members working individually or in clusters to provide a sustainable response to the pandemic. Project number 35, Digital Justice During the Pandemic, submitted by the European Court of Justice. The court introduced a remote hearing system to allow court hearings to continue during the pandemic. A video conference system allowed lawyers to make depositions securely. It was launched in May 2020, and by January 2021, over 100 hearings had been conducted using this system. Project number 37, fundraising to support the COVID-19 response from an internal EU staff group which set up a COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund based on donations from staff. This fund was set up with the King Baudouin Foundation, and after 8 months, €500,000 were raised to support projects in 9 EU countries. Now I'm going to hand over again to the Ombudsman to announce the shortlist.
Thank you very much again, Shada. And the shortlisted projects for the Innovation and Transformation category are Project number 5, helping people track what happens to their private data by the European Data Protection Supervisor. Project number 16, using artificial intelligence to serve a multilingual EU by the Intellectual Property Office and the Translation Center. And project number 35, Digital Justice During the Pandemic by the European Court of Justice. Congratulations to all those who've been shortlisted. And the winner in this category is project number 35, Digital Justice During the Pandemic by the European Court of Justice.
The spokesperson for the European Court of Justice project is Arnaud Boillet. Congratulations, Arnaud. Now let's watch the winner's video.
Many congratulations, Arnaud. I imagine that the European Court of Justice has contingency plans for many things, but did you ever imagine or did you ever plan for a situation such as the one that we've all experienced over the last 15 months?
Well, we didn't really plan such a situation, but what is remarkable is the fact that we could manage to react very quickly to this unique situation. After 2 months of lockdown, for justice to be continued to be done, it was necessary to reopen the courtrooms. This could be done in compliance with very strict sanitary protocols, but it was necessary, but not enough, because the representatives of the parties could sometimes simply not travel to Luxembourg and appear in the courtroom. So we had to find a solution to let them put forward their oral arguments in the courtroom without having them physically in Luxembourg. And a video conferencing system such as the one we use today could not respond to the peculiar requirements of our judicial proceedings. The system to put in place had to be perfectly stable in order to ensure the rights of the defense. It had to be totally secured, and it had to support simultaneous interpretation potentially from and towards 24 official languages. This unique system was designed with internal resources. Our colleagues from the registries, the IT, Buildings and Security and Interpretation Directorates provided the Court of Justice and the General Court with the technical and human expertise that allowed preserving the fundamental right to an effective judicial protection and the multilingual access to the EU judiciary. We are extremely glad, grateful, and proud that this collective achievement is acknowledged and rewarded by this prize today. It is an honor for the court and for the colleagues who made this possible. On behalf of the Registrar of the Court of Justice of the European Union and of the Hearings Task Force, I wish to express my warmest thanks and my gratitude to you, Mrs. O'Reilly, for this prestigious award. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arnaud, and congratulations again. Now let's go to the next category. The Excellence in Crisis Management category has 11 projects. Project number 3, adapting the Commission's traineeship program to crisis times, sent in by DG Education and Culture. The Blue Book trainee scheme was overhauled to adapt to the pandemic. So traineeships starting in March 2020 were extended by 5 months, and trainees were allowed to work from their home countries. 1,000 trainees were welcomed using digital onboarding in autumn. The project number 6, the EP's Transport Unit, a lesson in adapting to crisis, submitted by the European Parliament. The Parliament's Transport Unit overhauled its practices in order to keep drivers and MEPs safe during COVID-19. Measures they adopted included reducing the number of seats in the vehicles and putting plexiglass between the driver and the passengers. Drivers also volunteered to deliver meals and unsold food to charities. Project number 8, ensuring business continuity during the pandemic, developed by the Council. In fact, the Council's Security Strategy and Business Continuity Unit helped other EU institutions and bodies to deal with the effects of COVID-19 in the workplace. It shared insights on how to manage contact tracing, how to communicate with staff, and how to ensure staff well-being. Its help was, of course, highly appreciated by the other EU institutions. Project number 10, A Big Heart for Small Businesses, developed by the European Union Intellectual Property Office, which set up a rapid response mechanism to help SMEs recover from the pandemic and its impact. Measures included access to free intellectual property support and an easy tool for applying for trademark registration. Around 360 SMEs from over 14 countries have benefited from this initiative. Project number 17, ensuring speed and accountability in the EU's response to COVID-19, from DG Regio, Employment, Mare, and Agriculture. 2 legislative proposals were prepared in record time for the Corona Response Investment Initiative. A rapid response team was set up to answer member states' questions on EU money to combat the crisis, and a coronavirus dashboard showed how money was actually being spent. Project number 18, Watching Each Other's Back, helping staff deal with COVID-19, developed by the European Parliament. The EP's Personnel Directorate implemented a support program to help staff dealing with psychological issues arising from COVID-19. Support included a helpline with trained counsellors, and the baseline philosophy was, it's okay not to be okay. Project number 23, bringing stranded EU citizens home, developed by the European External Action Service. Travel restrictions taken during the pandemic left over 600,000 EU citizens stranded abroad in early 2020. As part of its efforts to bring people home, the EEAS helped keep airspaces open, got visas extended, and provided EU funding for 270 flights. A special EEAS crisis task force operated 24/7. Project number 27, bringing citizens home during the pandemic, submitted by DG ECHO. In an action coordinated by DG ECHO, over 100,000 stranded people were brought back to the EU. Members of the A1 unit staffed the Emergency Response Centre. 23 member states requested repatriation assistance, and the action involved over 400 flights. Project number 28, Rescue Medical Stockpile, protecting our first responders, developed by DG ECHO. The A2 unit in DG ECHO created and managed a stockpile of personal protective equipment. It meant grant agreements with partners in 9 member states. Around 1.3 million masks went to first responders in Italy, Croatia, Spain, Lithuania, and other countries. And 30 ventilators went to Czechia. Project number 29, Humanitarian Air Bridge, bringing relief during the coronavirus pandemic from DG ECHO. Unit C4 of DG ECHO set up a humanitarian air bridge of EU flights, bringing aid to vulnerable people. The countries most in need were identified by member states and partners. From May-October 2020, 67 flights transported more than 1,000 tons of vital supplies to 20 countries. Project 36, coordinating the EU response to the COVID-19 crisis, submitted by the Emergency Response Coordination Centre in the European Commission. The ERCC provided coordinating and operational support to the crisis response to the EU. It helped repatriate EU citizens from Wuhan in China, and also helped repatriate around 100,000 Europeans stranded abroad. It helped match requests for assistance with offers of assistance from within the EU and beyond. And it helped coordinate the delivery of COVID-19 assistance to developing countries. I'll now hand over to the Ombudsman to announce the shortlist.
And the shortlisted projects for the crisis management category are project number 8, ensuring business continuity during the pandemic by the Council. Project number 10, a big heart for small businesses, the European Union Intellectual Property Office. And project number 17, ensuring speed and accountability in the EU's response to COVID-19 from DG Regio, Employment, Mare and Agriculture. Congratulations to all 3. And the winner in this category is project number 8, ensuring business continuity during the pandemic by the Council.
Let's speak to the spokesman for the project. He is going to join us very soon. Congratulations on your win. Let's watch a video of the winner.
Many congratulations, Dennis, and to your team. I think you should be particularly flattered that it was other institutions that nominated you for this award. So you've obviously done a good job if you've impressed all of those. So obviously a very, very challenging task. Just give us a bit of an insight into the beginning of the crisis and how it was that you strategized to help the colleagues in this way.
Thank you very much, Emily. Yes, indeed. We're very, very proud to have been nominated, not by ourselves, but by other colleagues. I have to say, we only thought we were doing our own jobs, and we were very surprised and absolutely humbled that our counterparts in other institutions and agencies thought we had merited an award for the work we were doing. We reacted the same way as everybody else did at the beginning of the pandemic. We looked at our business continuity plans and thought about what do we need to do now, what do we need to change now to make our work and the work of our colleagues possible for the citizen going ahead. The only thing that we did which was outside the normal was that we had the reflex of sharing our thoughts and those of our colleagues with our counterparts in the other offices, bodies and agencies. And I hope that having that reflex helped and inspired some of our colleagues to make their business continuity planning actions also successful during the pandemic. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. We're very surprised and delighted to receive this award. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations again, and we're delighted as well. Now, this was the last of the specific category prizes. Before we turn to the overall winner of the European Ombudsman 2021 Award for Good Administration, I would like to introduce you to some members of the jury who went through all of your projects so carefully. They are Chris Doxey, Chair of the Board and EDPS Honorary Director. I'm being told that the jury members are not there at the moment, so I think we shall continue on with our ceremony. Do we know if they'll be joining us soon, or should we just move on now? I think we should, yes, move on. Okay, so let's now go to the another video, which will be about this year's award for good administration. So let's have a bumper now, and then I'll turn the floor to Emily.
Well, I would also like to extend my thanks to the board for all of their time and their enthusiasm in helping us to deal with these awards. Your help is greatly appreciated. And now it is my great pleasure to announce the winner of this year's overall award for good administration. And this video will reveal all. Well, as we just saw in the video, the winning projects are Project 23 and Project 27, which were both about bringing European citizens home during the pandemic and were executed by the External Action Service and DG ECHO. We chose to give the overall award to these two projects jointly because of the extraordinary efforts that staff in those teams went to in order to bring stranded people home. They showed what a well-working and motivated public administration can achieve. And they showed in the most concrete way possible what it means to be a citizen of the European Union.
So let's now turn to some of the spokesmen for these two projects who are joining us. There we are. Emily.
Many congratulations. An incredible achievement, a joint award, bringing European citizens home at a time of great panic, great crisis. I'm not sure what contingency plans you could possibly have had at the time, but give us a sense of the feeling, the atmosphere at the time. Obviously, 23 different member states were in touch with you, trying to get their citizens home. Was there panic, or was it very calm?
Yeah, actually, well, first I have to thank my colleagues. We are here in the Emergency Response Coordination Center. This is, as you mentioned, a coordinated effort, not only from DG ECHO, the Commission, but also with EIS. And I want to thank everyone that collaborated and that cooperated to manage to success in this endeavor that we had during the crisis. It felt very, very difficult, to be honest, because as for everyone, it was a very difficult situation, just personally. For everyone, we had to change our way of living. We have to stop many of the activities that made us happy at that time. And moreover, here in the crisis center, we have to deal with the biggest emergency that we never had to deal with. So at that time, it was we were learning new ways of working at the same time that we really had to deliver. So it felt hard, but we are very happy because we managed. We did it. We think that we did it very well. And yes, we are happy that at the end we could deliver to the EU citizens the best of our capacities and all our commitment and our motivation.
Now, I had seen that Mr. Stefano Sannino was joining, but I don't think there's a problem with the connection. So let's move on. Now, you might be thinking, that's it, but it's not over yet. Let me hand back to the Ombudsman. Emily.
Well, we have chosen again this year to give a special award to one particular project, a project that goes beyond all of the categories, because it is about EU staff doing something in addition to the day job for solidarity. So I am delighted to give the special award to project number 37, fundraising to support the COVID-19 response from the EU staff for Climate Group. That became the EU Staff COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund.
Bruno Mola is the spokesman for this group. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
Bruno, many congratulations. I know we said at the beginning that I think €500,000 had been raised, but I think at this stage the numbers have gone way up. So what inspired you to do it in the first place? Were you surprised at the response? And what was the motivation to link it to the King Baudouin Fund?
Yes. Well, the initial motivation was very simple. With colleagues, we were feeling, it was a shared feeling among colleagues that when the crisis struck, we were doing a lot professionally. But we also felt the urge to do something more on a personal ground. When you are in a crisis is when the community needs to get together, and when those who have the possibility to support those who struggle, which is the sense of the community, is even also the sense of the European social model, if you want. So it was kind of a natural push from our side. Many colleagues were sharing it, and many colleagues were already donating. But we also realized it would have been good to have a visible and unique sign of our solidarity that could offer a value added as with respect to what the different fundraisers and the different initiatives that colleagues were already supporting. So having something that could be directly linked with the EU staff solidarity, because we work for the citizens and we want to have a direct link and communication with them. And then on the other hand, also trying to do something extra that with our institution we cannot do, which is essentially supporting those small organizations on the ground that are touching niche needs of those who fall out of the normal institutional safety nets. And I'm talking about all those who work in black or in the informal economy, or all the marginalized groups that do not have access to the general support tools. And King Bodin Foundation helped us in this because they have a network of European foundations that know the realities on the ground, are able to scan the needs on the ground, identify small organizations that are reliable, that could be beneficiary of our support. And this is the way we have worked until now. We carry on working because one thing it must be said is that an important number of colleagues have established a monthly donation of a percentage of their salary, which means that we have already reached about 650,000 euros to collect now, and we aim to continue all along the recovery phase.
Thank you very much. Now let's watch the video of the winning special prize. And now for the very final winner.
Well, for the very first time this year, all of your projects were put up for a public vote so that more people could see the range of the work that you do. We were delighted by the response. There were more than 6,000 votes cast. In third place is Project 26, e-translation, bringing a multilingual EU to citizens by DG Translation and DG Connect. In second place is Project 20, Punto y Coma, the most read or must-read journal by Spanish language translators. And in the number one public spot is Project number 32, access to markets, helping small businesses trade their way to recovery by DG Trade.
The spokesman for the project is Peter Sandler. Congratulations on scooping up this prize. Let me now get the video of the project.
Congratulations, Peter. Many congratulations, Peter, on winning our first ever public vote. Congratulations to you and to your team. Obviously, we've all been very aware of the huge stresses that have been placed on small business and medium-sized businesses right across Europe. And I can imagine there were huge demands made on you and on your team. So what was your thinking? What was your strategizing in relation to this from the very start? And also, I assume a lot of your colleagues and staff were working from home, so there were additional challenges posed there.
Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed. I am thrilled and honoured to receive this prize, particularly in such a difficult year in terms of COVID and when there are so many excellent projects which have been set out this morning. I think for us, this project, and it's a project which has been in preparation for a couple of years, so it certainly predates the COVID crisis, is really about finding ways to share information and help businesses make the most out of the network of trade agreements that the European Union has put in place. And for small businesses in particular, this is often the challenge of finding out what these agreements are about, finding out how they can make best use of them. And the website we've created, the platform Access to Market, certainly does that. It does that for free. It does that with much of the information available in all EU languages. And it's proven success in the sense that since its launch last autumn, we've had more than 1 million people visiting and using the site. And I think given the situation with COVID, the need for recovery, it becomes all the more important that it's been able to do so. Of course, this has been a team effort involving many parts of the DG, involving external consultants, but it's also something we've built hand in hand with industry, bottom up, testing the information, checking it works, and ensuring that we have a product which really meets the needs of businesses all across Europe. And in a way, it's a good example of Europe at its best, doing simple, practical things which can really work and produce useful solutions.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Absolutely right. Europe at its best. So, friends, we're now reaching the end of this wonderful, inspiring ceremony. But before we go, I think I'm going to ask you a few more questions, Emily. I know you spoke at the start and you laid out your vision and you talked about the problems and the challenges that the pandemic brought. What in this ceremony did you find that it really inspired you?
Well, I think as always it was hugely uplifting, and I think it's particularly wonderful that other colleagues get to know what's going on in all of the different parts of the EU administration. I mean, look, we can't deny, as I said at the beginning, that mistakes were made, but look at all the fantastic work that was done as well. That meant so much to people. And over the last while, I've been talking to a lot of my colleagues in the network of Ombudsman, and I ask them about how did Europe feature in the lives of the people that you serve. And I remember one in particular talking about the Sure Fund and other projects that indeed some of which we saw here, and she said it was the first time that Europeans really felt that her citizens in her country really felt Europe in their lives. Now, of course, Europe has been in their lives for a very long time, but they got a really strong, tangible sense of it. And I think, as Peter said just there, it's those practical things, it's the things that people really feel in their lives that are important. So as ever, I think it's been an inspiring event, and I thank you. I thank my wonderful colleagues in communications. I thank this fantastic team in the European Parliament here. Lots of moving parts to get right, a few little hiccups, but overall a great ceremony, and thank you all so much.
But before I let you go, just remind us why you set up the award ceremony for good administration in the first place.
Well, there were a number of reasons. I think it was actually partly inspired by Brexit, believe it or not, because the Europe was coming in for an awful lot of criticism and sort of the creation of a caricature, a stereotype that I knew was not valid. So it's partly out of that. It was also because I was aware that Europe does many wonderful things that people don't know about. So let's find a space to try and showcase that. But it's also was doing the day job, because my overall role is to try and help the administration to improve its standards. So this is a way of doing that. And I think what I've noticed over the last few editions of this is how, first of all, how happy people are to be told you've done a great job. We saw that in some of the faces today, which is great. But also, again, you know, people really getting a sense, even if they work in the EU institutions, of the range and the breadth of what is done. And if we can contribute to showcasing that great work in this way, then I'm really happy and proud to have been able to do it along with my colleagues.
And so much collaboration across departments, among member states.
Yes,
that was
yes,
really
absolutely,
right?
Fantastic. And also when you saw in one of the awards there that it was the other institutions that wanted to say, well done, to reach out. And I think, you know, I think even in my own office, I think people have talked about the greater levels of communication, greater levels of collaboration. And I think people have noticed that it's not just good for us, but it's good for the work that we do and ultimately for the citizens. And I hope it continues.
Absolutely, we've adapted, haven't we? Emily, now you can say your thanks.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'll thank you all on the double, yes. We are a small office, as I say, just 70 people, and doing an event like this is obviously quite a big deal. But I have a wonderful communications and IT team led by the wonderful Gudi Gadisman, along with her colleagues, Honor and Rico, I won't name them all, who have done a fantastic job under very challenging circumstances. I thank the advisory board. I thank you, Shada, as ever, for doing this. I think you enjoy it as well. And once again, to this great team who were so calm and who helped us amateurs through this great project. So thank you all, and thank you to the colleagues, and above all, thank you to everybody who entered this awards.
Absolutely. And so that's it from me as well, friends. Thank you so much all for attending, for your applications, for your projects. It's been an honor, and I have to say an inspiration to present this ceremony. Take care, everyone, and stay safe. Goodbye.